Welcome to the lovely IHP community and the 5D collective. We have a new moon and we're going to continue a little bit more with some of our food for thought channeled guidance. If you did not tune in to any of the episodes from today, don't worry, I'm going to give you the gist of it. Lovers, they have intimacy. We do, since we have curious, open sense of connection and emotional mature vulnerability. Oh, if you're wondering who I am, I'm a 5D Mystic Mentor, content creator, podcast host. I'm in the Alignment Soul age group, and I'm a functional child adult who is here for those who want self-help, for personal development and spiritual development, and that means you want well-being and growth. And so if you don't want to be yourself and you don't want emotional maturity and mastery, self-help is not for you. Another one of our episodes, nor is the 5D collective at IHP. And with that, I'm my own mother and I'm my own father and I'm my own star baby because I'm a whole self. I don't have orphaned child parts that need Patrick Tiahan. So people who need Patrick Tiahan, they don't own their ventral vagal state and they don't own their sense of self, and so they don't own their animal and pilgrim kingdom, and so they don't know how to be a lover. They don't know how to be a lover because they're a siren of themselves, though, not of us. And so, again, this is 3D, 4D who have committed to that, which is a low frequency, and they're unhealthy. Self-worth, emotionally immature patterns, unhealthy self-soothing, drinking, drugging, fucking, drama. They're enamored and in love with their drama stories. They are enamored and in love with their low frequency and their incapacity to regulate anger, fear, and sadness. And to be able to master those three, you also master happiness, surprise, and disgust. And that's why you stress. So I got to do some practice today. And that's because the new moon, it brings forth always, well, all ascension energies do. But for the 5D collective, we are our own true selves. We are our first and only, our first lover. the one, once you find out that the one, twin flame, the ones, twin flames, the ones, soulmates, they're not the one, you're the one. And you share, that's why lovers, they have intimacy only when we're sharing a curious, open sense of connection. Tune into the episode. So we're emotionally mature and vulnerable together. And so your relationship strengthens because you have the person who knows healthy self-soothing. So they are moderate in drinking, they're moderate in living life, in sleeping, and no drugs because drugs are bad for you. Moderate and even smoking. I smoke cigars, moderation, and even some would say really, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look into like the non-alcoholic beverages because so this is the part you consider how you're going to grow old together. Okay, so people who care about themselves, they care about all aspects. We also care not to take away our fun for life. So again, this is where it's not a straightforward anything, but it is completely empowered masculines, empowered feminines will have hearts that live in recognizing ourself in another. And all of my brothers and sisters are angels with a longing. Yes, and their longing is their 0-1-year-old. We are self-agents here. So our 0-1-year-old is ours, which is why we believe in ourselves and we get to be our true self. And we are truly intelligent because we are neither influenced by our memory, implicit or explicit, or deluded by our imagination. Thank you, Sadhguru. I'm adding. And that's where, as a 5D mystic, my downloads, what I can foresee, not foresee, okay? That's why we talk about things differently when I do downloads, channeled guidance, food for thought. Human beings, some of them, suffer their own memory and imagination, and that is, Sadhguru, he says, they suffer that which does not exist. Not really, Sadhguru. They suffer that which exists within that which was their own unfortunate beginning from the womb to their first year of life and to their continuing of life. And then when they get to their 16-year-old, if they don't become healed, and so they're not a person who has the self leading the way, and so they don't know how to use their ventral vagal state because they don't have an integrated brain, because they're not curious, open, accepting, loving, because they're not connected, open, aware, and loving of themselves. Okay, so they're not integrated. When you don't have the capacity to be a person who's aware of your sensations and your subjective perspective with agency, you're going to think about these cards, the sustainer, the destroyer, and the creator, very differently. And what I can tell you as an empowered feminine is that the empowered feminine knows that Mother Earth will not destroy us, nor will God, the creator, and nor will, Akash or source take anything away, the sustainer, okay? And I'm using Maria's way of giving you this stuff. I am an intuitive I don't do the books, okay? Just so you know. So mystic, yes, mystic. Right here, you can also use shaman. I use all the words. You can talk to me about spiritual gifts, prophecies, gurus. They're all one and the same. Mentor, mystic mentor, content creator, podcast host. But a mentor serves and supports those who are wanting to be their self and they want to mature, emotional mastery. And so you're not a healer of someone else. You are not a shadow and a light. You don't do ups and downs, and you don't need someone to pat you on the back. You're not a pretender. Those are adapted child part people who do karma. They're 0-8-year-old. Their trauma is not metabolized, and as Pat Ogden points out, they continue living it out on a wheelhouse, and that's where I will notice them. For how they describe to you the creator, for how they describe to you the destroyer, the sustainer, for how they tell you that they can heal you, and then they say, I'm a healer. And I told them, how dare you trauma dump on me? Okay, so that is a person who has a small window of welcome to their own affect. Emotionally immature people, let me share with you, which is a lovely lady who gives us a very specific definition. They interpret reality based on how something feels to them, not what was actually said or meant. And that's because they got a 14-month-old who is theirs and they're not a self-agent. Okay, so mystic mentor here supports people who are looking forward to their self and to, again, emotional mastery. Just so we're clear before I continue. Emotional mastery equals mental mastery, and that's why it also equals physical mastery. So you'll not have to tune into the other episode if you don't want. Functional child adults, we find solutions and we expand together, and that's because we love to talk a talk and walk a walk in life as our true authentic self. We don't hide ourselves. And we're anchored in that ventral energy. So with emotions and thoughts, we mature them, we expand them, we consciously continue to contribute to our human evolution, our own evolution, and then in a relationship to each other, being our most amazing, empowered feminine, our own mother, our empowered masculine, our own father, and our own star baby. And so we do support tradition. We just don't do it by being people who have to bring forth some story that has nothing to do with us. And so you are, again, doing use stress, not distress. You're doing dharma, not karma. So the 0-8-year-olds, you'll see why they are always copying each other and how their small frequency works. For us, we have hearts that live in recognizing itself in one another, and we suffer not in life or love and relationships because we're using a prefrontal cortex. And that's because, again, you know how to process what comes up. You don't have unhealthy self-soothing, inner critic or outer critic, or binge eating, binge drinking, binge this, binge that. Anybody who's still doing drugs at a certain point, really, I mean, it's one thing that you've decided to, I don't do drugs. And people who tell me that I should, I'm like, not really. I'm fond of Peter Levine. I believe he's still writing a book where he's going to share why it's ideal for psychedelics to be done with a good therapist, which I am completely in favor of. Like when you find out mindfulness practices, they're great. But if you own all of this, if you got shit that comes up, that's why yoga, don't bring demons out of you, brings trauma charges, because the non-metabolized trauma charges, as Peter Levine points out, are stored in your muscles, bones, and tissues. Okay, so the animal kingdom is what we are made of, and as pilgrims, but we're in a different time, we have the capacity, again, to be the siren of our oneself, our own self, or you get to be the lover And you'll know the difference because a lover is energized when they wake up in the morning. A lover takes care of their physical, mental, and emotional health and makes sure that they have a whole self. So we don't suffer life or love because there's no need to use cliche sentences like that. And when we read quotes like lovely Sylvester Stallone, let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. We're like, well, not really, but still, we're okay with being alive. Staying alive, ha, ha. It's not optimism, it's that I can contemplate that there's a lot of uncertainty and unwanteds and unexpecteds and unforeseen events. I believe in God, so with faith, I've consistently had this sense of ease. With those who are from science, they know dark matter and dark energy isn't imploding, and the actual smart sciences people know of good sciences. And that's why I'm the pseudoscience woo lady. I know of good sciences too. Also, smart sciences people are grounded in reality. As Sam Harris points out, they'll know their cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable like I will. So neither one of us is saying science is truer than spirituality. We're going to fight each other. No. So, I mean, okay, rainbows and sunshine. It's a very mean and nasty place. I mean, if you'd given it to me as a teenager, I would have had the same energy because my adolescent brain was in that biochemistry, which is why they say we change. I say, well, I organically expanded to be myself. So no, I don't feel changed. Okay, so our love stories expand us, and they have us grow more loving, if you'll have heard. So that's for all of you who are in that self-agency since you were a kid. I didn't have accumulation of my charges. Teenage boyfriend story is I didn't say, oh my God, no man is going to know how to commit. No. I did, however, move into polyamory community. And as for that, those of us who are securely attached are not going to say, you're not poly enough, or not move into, for example, there's the poly fidelity vessel. And I really appreciate it because at the end of the day, you're going to want to consistently build with the actual lover. That's a secure attachment figure, not just a secure connection. So you want to hear about how your day went. You want to be there to support each other emotionally, mentally, physically. You only have 24 hours. This is a secure attachment figure, but not because your 0-1-year-old needs it. That's why lovers are intimate, because we're independent, because we're self-agents. So I'm an open-hearted, and I won't bring to you anything that would weigh you down, and I won't bring to you anything that you're going to have to worry about. I won't want you to be suffering or afraid to lose me or upset or worried. Okay, common sense is moderation. Again, in all things is where when my mother bugs me about stuff, that's because she loves me. So we people who say, yes, I do, death do part, sickness and health, for better, for worse. It's not, you're not my child. I'm not your child. It's called common sense. People know what moderation is. So again, while this can be fancy as you're growing up, by the time I'm in college, I'm wondering why people are complaining about fucking, feeling alone, doing drugs in school. And now I know they were all comedians who could have went to therapy, and I'm wondering, wow, why were you not in therapy? You're in college surrounded by smart fucking ass people, and it's because they think that they don't need it, like the Zen master was laundry. People who don't think that their well-being can be addressed, so they'd rather use stories. 4D, 3D. They're trying to imprison us, the modern day therapists. They're trying to patch us up. No, they're not. So mindfulness supports those who have ownership of their sense of self. And so what comes up from your heart, you can handle all the basic emotions, and your brain is very much capable of being curious, open, and accepting and loving towards others and myself. And so I'm also connected, open, and accepting and aware of myself. And I'll be accepting of you. So I'm emotionally mature. It's why I don't look to the past and think, wow, my teenage boyfriend was an asshole. No. And when people want to judge it, I'm like, no, that's not how I feel about it. Okay, so with our monoamory, polyamory community, our mystic, spiritual, mindful community, we don't tell each other there's not a right or wrong. It's more of, wow, there's a rainbow of colors. Anima mundi, that's the part. We bring it all in. And it's fun. I love the 5D collective. So our love stories expand us and have us grow more loving, not bitter, and not heartbroken. Our new moon, our ascension energies, they all have us expand. So this nasty place, I can have had those types of conversations, because when you're moving into your expansion, walk like an Egyptian, you're going to get to process all of these emotions deeply. And that's why you're light body, light body, light body, and you move into rainbow body, and you don't actually go offline. And that's, again, for 4D3D to continue to ignore. We don't suffer love life. We don't suffer our love because we don't have dramatic stories. We're not actually hooked on drama, and we don't have unhealthy self-worth, emotionally immature mannerisms, or unavailability. So we don't close ourselves off. We don't pent up nothing. We're lovers who pursue mental, emotional, and physical maturity and mastery as our whole self. And we're not afraid of being vulnerable and having open-hearted relationships. So we don't close ourselves off to our partners. That's the part, okay? And love brings out the best, or partner. So again, this is where you know your dynamics. But the point is, you're not going to be, this world is, going to hit me. So let me finish Sylvester Stallone first. I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. So again, if I want to be a drama king or queen, I can actively feel that way. If I'm going to be self-led, and that's what mindfulness supports you, by the way. Again, mind-side practices. I can sift through Maria's sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. Dr. Daniel Siegel would say, I'm in the wheel of possibilities or the wheel of awareness, and I'm in the generator of possibilities, or the generator of diversity, excuse me. I'm trying to think of his acronyms. So as I explore Maria's personality patterns, her self-agency, her subjective personal experience in the moment, I'm sitting here and I'm softly working. No, I'm not doing the waves. Bring my prefrontal cortex down, like Tara Brach's lovely meditation mindfulness video. I didn't even need that because I came across it way later. And I sit. So I learned, I'm like, okay, you don't need to go back and forth. You go from these extremes. It's unnecessary. You're really using a lot of energy. That's how it works when you're consistently, by the way, downloading without knowing it. Just FYI. So even before becoming a full-blown mystic, I was already downloading. So my higher self consistently had a conversation with myself, and really it's just your thoughts is how I'm going to bring it to you. And they're always very much walk like an Egyptian. They're loving, and they're quantumous, and they're discerning like God is to me. In that lovely chapter that I get to be a co-author of a book, well, I get to write the chapter. I'm a co-author in the book, The Ways to God, in case you didn't know, with another 8 amazing spiritual authors. And so that's the part of where I explain as a self-agent, that's where with good catechists, God has never turned his back, and I've never turned my back. My brothers and sisters from my upbringing, Christian Catholics, not all will welcome me, because some of them actually believe, the ones who tell them that yoga brings demons out of you, that Reiki is bad energy, that tarot is bad, that an Akashic record reader is bad, that basically we're monsters. And they want to own somehow energy. You leave it alone, because again, neuroscience proves none of my brothers and sisters, one, are monsters. They're all brothers and sisters. And if really we must, fallen angels can always get back up, because they can become self-aware, accountable, and regulate. They can go to therapy, and they can actually heal. The bright sides of neuroplasticity is that you can use your imagination in the bright way. Or you don't have to. Fancy lady and man in suit that I make fun of learned how to not use their brain effectively. And we hear them as they speak shit through their mouths, and I make fun of them for that reason. So we are not afraid of being vulnerable, and that's why love brings out the best of us as we enjoy living the infinite higher human consciousness potential experience and being self-agents who choose well-being, intelligence, integration, authenticity, and resiliency in ventral vagal state. So I choose that first of all for myself, and then I choose that with another, and the other is already there, because otherwise we won't be in the same frequency at all, because we're not going to be of the same type of leadership material. Because the ventral vagal state is very clear, again, of what the leadership material, that life is not going to hit me and get me to my knees. It's a figure of speech. I don't need to be hooked on drama. Stress, and dressing it up. Okay, so yeah, this is drama, stress, dressing it up. The modulated embodiment is why you're going to get consistently tired. So you motivating yourself is very important, but you doing it with the prefrontal is of the most importance to your own body. Yes, that's the part. And so when I read it, I can read it from my ventral vagal state. I don't need to read it from... You'll notice the difference if you know how to navigate your nervous system, which is one of the main modules of our masterclass once we get it rolling out. Thank you, Sadhguru. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. Yes, there's our fearful brothers and sisters who lead each other. We don't join them, but we will allow ourselves to see them, because we'll hear about their stories. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are. It'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody's gonna hit as hard as life. No, God didn't hit me. I'm sorry. Like, really, that's not happening. I'm just making a big deal potentially out of something that I don't have to. I really don't. That's how it works as you process and use your ventral vagal state. And that's why people think we have no emotions. It's like, no, no, you're indifferent. No, not really. No, I'm actually in my eustress. Oh, I still go through emotions. That's just, I don't do karma. I do dharma. I like practically with. So I bring to you again human and spiritual elements so that you can understand it's being a person who's using the flow state because you're an integrated brain, because you're restorative embodiment, and you're self-aware, accountable, regulating, and that's what mindfulness practices help with the inner growth mindset, because you have mindset skills and not this, which then would bring forth this, and then would bring forth that you think you're a healer or you're healed, when instead I'll notice if you're healed or not based on how you talk to me about men and women and days in the world. If you're a this, you're just going to say, wow, I'm so excited for the future. No, it's not all positive, but I'm still excited because why not? This will have a whole bunch of other things, and there you go. So let's move on. You, me, or nobody's going to hit as hard as life, but it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Has anybody ever noticed how a person will allow themselves to think that by being on the floor, you getting up 10 million times makes it sound like you've done some more work than somebody else? I'm going to say that, okay, maybe I can be hit to the ground, but every time it better be different, because otherwise I'm a moron if I continue to get hit in the same way. But then again, I also don't need the figure of speech, okay? Because it's not productive. But at the same time, it can be motivating once, and then it's done. So if ascension energies come about and a person is motivated by that type of dialogue, what I'm going to have is a person who's going to get on a screen who's going to tell me about how much shit's going down and how dare people tell them not to be where they're at. And they're in fact going to say, I'm not fear-mongering anyone. I know exactly what I'm doing. And there's your storytellers. And that's why we leave it alone. So you'll know how to discern if you are an integrated brain with a self-agent in the forefront. You'll also know what to do with equanimity, because you'll love to be calm and centered and loving. Thank you, God. You'll also know that God is not owned by anyone in Akash, Source, Universe, Infinity. Nobody owns spirituality or divinity for that matter. And really, when people make it into a big deal that we call, I don't do the I'm a divine thing, because yes, I am a divine feminine. And a divine masculine. I'm empowered. But divinity can equate consciousness. I embody pure consciousness because I'm self-led. But Maria is still here. I'm an emotionally aware. So when affect comes up, I know. That's why I told you. Today I had eustress because new moon brought shit. Yeah, it did. But I handled it pretty great. And that's why the difference. The 5D collective is doing eustress, not distress. And when you want to do more of it, if you want a program, you do one-to-one mentorship. If you want a masterclass, you sign up. If you want workshop retreats, you sign up. And that's because we're still part of our animal kingdom and pilgrims. We just do things, we travel differently. We also are able to sit more together and be safe together. It's an actual beautiful place to be today. And I don't dislike society. I actually love society, and I love the younger generation. They're the most understanding that love is not decided by monoamory couples or monogamous couples, and that polyamory aren't people who are unfaithful or that you need to be watching your back from. So when you meet younger people, women and men who are actual lovers, they know that love is pure because that's exactly why they're pure themselves. And they're not using ancient tradition, because we keep upholding tradition. You know what tradition taught me? Death do part, sickness and health, for better for worse. How are you going to take care of me if you have, functional alcoholic, functional drug addict, functional whatever? How are you going to continue living? Your liver is going to implode. Your stomach is going. I mean, the point is moderation and all, but there are those who will continue as they're getting older to allow themselves to not notice that they don't know moderation. I can be just as culpable of not living the utmost healthiest lifestyle. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this in because death do part, sickness and health, better for worse. This is where I'm getting practical, because the mental emotional mastery is straightforward. Physical for me is straightforward because I got taught health. I still get told by that same caregiver what to do, and I will say stop bugging me, but I will know that the speaking is in order to keep me on a line, because we're all creatures of habit. Okay, but there's a difference between the habit of a person who is self-led with care versus those who are not. And so it's not about making big deals in anyone's life, because I gave you an example yesterday in one of the movies that I saw a long time ago, always with Sylvester Stallone. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to see every single thing get extreme, which is where our 3D 4D collective goes. They go to these extreme scenarios. I'm going to say common sense and moderation. So when you have commitment to anything, it has to be that you've committed to yourself. So if you haven't committed to your physical health, you haven't really committed. We all get sloppy. We all have distractions, meaning we all have focus areas. I'm, again, culpable of that too. This is where life nudges us. I know when I'm getting nudged because I pay attention. That's why I also, again, support being each other's healthy self-worth chiming in. For a committed person, there's no such thing as failure, just lessons to be learned on the way. Thank you, Sadhguru. And it's when things go wrong in life that I will see who you are, because when things go well, great, but when things go wrong, how are you going to behave? How are we going to move beyond something that is stressful? Okay, so again, how we handle life is important. The life within us is not here to serve our body, mind, or emotion. The body, mind, and emotion are there to serve the life. Sadhguru, thank you. So if you're aware of your mental health and your emotional health and your physical health, then you're going to be an individual who knows what it is to be a self-agent, who has not only integrity flaws, but you also have self-acceptance, and you pursue consistently becoming more of the mental, emotional, and physical master of you, and you want empowerment. And that's why you choose to be excited about doing resiliency again, and then about being with people who are just as exciting as you. And like I said, as a smoker, I'll just use that again, because I'm not a person who likes to nag, even though I can probably sound like a nagger, because I consider myself sometimes a nagger. And this is the part of where, like with my mom, don't nag at me, stuff like that, right? But to give you this last example, and let me make sure there wasn't anything else for this lovely new moon. So yes, as a smoker, I would have one of my girlfriends, every time they'd come out, they'd just be a pain in the ass, okay? And once all of this brainwashing happened with cigarettes, which, you know, at the same time, yeah, to me, brainwashing, because I got plenty of pollution going on out there. This is why anything exaggerated, what are you doing? So the part about people being vocal about what their right is or not right is, this is the part of no one's gonna have the perfect anything. But we will have data that continues building, and society, when there are things that come about with laws like the seatbelt, I'm bringing in a different number of examples because this is the part. No one will ever have the perfection of anything. But if you have, I'm a person who this is myself, and I love another. I'm not performing. I'm not pretending, okay? So I will know that to grow together, there's a specific way you do things. It's not boring, but that's when you're satisfied, and more than just satisfied, you're fulfilled from inside. And you're fulfilled from inside when you have self-acceptance, because I'm not in any more pressure. I don't know pressure at all, by the way, but I'm not in a pressure to meet something. I know that I'm bringing my best A game, and then I know common sense, and then I live daily. So we'll talk more about it. In the meantime, the new moon brought you all some aha moments. I know it brought me some beautiful aha moments and practice of eustress versus distress for those who are already doing it. And for those of you who have more questions, just keep coming back because we'll talk some more about it. Have a great one.